Imagine waking up in a world where the temperature isn't just cold, it's deadly. No houses, no jackets, no electricity, no supermarkets. Just endless snow, freezing winds, and one terrifying question. Will you survive until tomorrow? Thousands of years ago, this wasn't a nightmare. It was everyday life. And to stay alive, ancient humans were forced to make choices so brutal that they still shock scientists today. Welcome to ToonTheory. Today, we're uncovering the darkest things ancient humans did to survive the cold. Around 20,000 years ago, during the coldest part of the last ice age, much of the northern hemisphere was covered by enormous sheets of ice. Some glaciers stretched for thousands of kilometers, swallowing forests, rivers, and entire landscapes beneath walls of frozen ice. In many places, temperatures dropped far below freezing, and fierce winds made the cold feel even more deadly. For early humans, every single day became a fight against nature itself. Food was incredibly scarce. Winter could last for months. Plants disappeared beneath snow. Rivers froze solid. Animals migrated or died. Even finding clean drinking water wasn't as simple as it sounds. Imagine being surrounded by snow, yet still needing to melt ice over a fire just to drink safely. Every journey outside your shelter came with a terrifying risk. One wrong decision. One unexpected snowstorm. One hunting failure. And your entire group could disappear forever. The freezing temperatures weren't the only enemy. Massive ice age animals roamed the land. Woolly mammoths. Giant cave bears. Steppe bison. Dire wolves. And packs of hungry predators searching for their next meal. Ancient humans weren't at the top of the food chain. Very often, they were the prey. Yet somehow, against impossible odds, humans didn't just survive. They adapted. They learned to master fire. They built shelters from whatever nature offered. And when survival became a matter of life or death, they made decisions that many of us today would struggle to even imagine. For ancient humans, clothing wasn't about fashion. It was the thin line between life and death. After every successful hunt, almost nothing went to waste. The skin of a mammoth, reindeer, bison, or other large animal was carefully removed and cleaned using sharp stone tools. Then, the hides were scraped to remove fat and tissue before being softened, sometimes using animal brains or fat in a process that helped preserve the leather. It was difficult, time-consuming work, but it produced warmer, more durable clothing. Without these heavy animal skin garments, many groups simply wouldn't have survived freezing winters. When trees were scarce, people had to get creative. Archaeologists have discovered ancient shelters built from the massive bones of woolly mammoths. Huge tusks formed curved entrances. Long leg bones became structural supports. Animal hides were stretched across the frame to block freezing winds. Inside, small fires burned continuously, turning these shelters into some of the warmest places available in a frozen landscape. To us, it sounds unbelievable. To them, it was home. Wood wasn't always available, especially on the cold, open plains where few trees grew. So ancient humans found another fuel source: animal fat. Rendered fat burned longer than many small sticks and produced valuable heat and light. Some groups also used bone marrow and other animal resources as high-energy food, helping them survive when plants were unavailable. Every hunt provided not just meat, but warmth, light, and another chance to live through the night. Privacy wasn't a luxury anyone could afford. Entire families often slept close together, sharing body heat to reduce the risk of freezing during the night. Children stayed near adults. The elderly were protected in the warmest spots. Even with fire burning nearby, the cold could still be deadly. Sometimes, the warmth of another human being was the difference between waking up or never waking up again. But despite all of these incredible survival techniques, the cold wasn't always the greatest threat. Sometimes, hunger became even more terrifying. And when food completely disappeared, some ancient humans were pushed to choices so desperate that archaeologists can still see the evidence today. No matter how worn your shelter was, or how thick your animal skin clothing had become, none of it mattered without food. A single failed hunt could leave an entire group starving for days. Snow buried edible plants. Rivers froze over. Herds changed their migration routes. And every passing day drained the little energy people had left. Sometimes, the cold didn't kill first. Hunger did. Every hunt was a gamble. There were no metal weapons. No bows with modern precision. No backup if something went wrong. Hunters often faced enormous Ice Age animals using wooden spears tipped with sharpened stone. One mistake could mean being crushed by a mammoth, gored by a bison, or mauled by a cave bear. Yet they kept hunting, because returning empty-handed wasn't just personal failure. It could mean children, elders, and the entire group wouldn't survive the coming days. Now comes one of the most disturbing discoveries archaeologists have ever made. At a few prehistoric sites, scientists have found human bones with cut marks, broken bones, and other signs that suggest some groups may have consumed human remains during periods of extreme starvation. This wasn't something all ancient humans did, and it certainly wasn't an everyday practice. But in desperate situations, when no animals could be found and death seemed certain, some people may have crossed a line that most of us can't even imagine. It's a haunting reminder of just how brutal survival could become. Life in the Ice Age demanded impossible decisions. Groups had to protect their children, care for the injured, share limited food, and sometimes leave dangerous areas in search of better hunting grounds, even if the journey itself could be deadly. Survival wasn't about strength alone. It depended on teamwork, planning, and the willingness to keep moving despite overwhelming odds. Against freezing temperatures, against hunger, against predators, and against impossible choices, humanity refused to disappear. But what finally gave our ancestors the advantage over one of the harshest climates Earth has ever seen? The answer changed human history forever. If there was one invention that gave humans a fighting chance, it was fire. Fire wasn't just about staying warm. It dried wet clothes, cooked food, making it safer and easier to digest, kept dangerous predators away from camps, and gave people light during the long, freezing nights. Around every fire, families shared food, planned hunts, and passed down knowledge to the next generation. In many ways, fire became the heart of human survival. Unlike mammoths with thick fur, or polar animals built for the cold, humans survived because they could think. They created better stone tools, sewed fitted clothing using bone needles, built stronger shelters, worked together in hunting parties, and learned from every mistake. Each generation improved on the last. That ability to adapt, not physical strength, became humanity's greatest superpower. As thousands of years passed, the climate slowly warmed. The giant ice sheets began to retreat. Forests returned. Rivers flowed again. Animals spread into new lands. And humans followed. The survival skills forged during the Ice Age helped our ancestors expand across continents, discover new environments, and eventually build villages, cities, and civilizations. The frozen world that once tried to destroy humanity had unknowingly made it stronger. The next time you complain about a cold winter morning, remember this. Your ancestors faced temperatures that could kill within hours, hunted massive animals with nothing more than stone-tipped spears, and endured hardships almost impossible to imagine. Their courage, their intelligence, and their determination are the reason we're here today. If you enjoyed uncovering one of history's darkest survival stories, Subscribe to ToonTheory for more incredible journeys through science, history, and the mysteries of our world. Because sometimes, the greatest stories aren't fiction. They're history.